If your home keeps getting cluttered again after you organize it, the problem probably isn't just your storage systems. As a professional organizer, I've seen the same things again and again that were causing clutter to return in my clients' homes before they hired me. Once you understand these causes, it becomes so much easier to keep your home tidy without needing to take on huge decluttering projects every few months. So let's talk about why clutter keeps coming back and how to stop that cycle. In this video, we're going to look at a few of the biggest reasons clutter keeps coming back. Things like organizing before decluttering, having more items than your space can comfortably hold, and habits that quietly bring more clutter into your home over time. We'll also talk about how to make sure everything in your home has a clear place to live, and one simple mindset shift that can prevent a surprising amount of clutter before it even enters your house. Once you understand these pieces, it becomes so much easier to keep your home in what I like to think of as the maintenance phase, where staying tidy feels manageable instead of overwhelming. If you're new here, I'm Kelly, a professional organizer with a background in behavioral science. I help people create homes that support the life they actually want to live. Let's get into it. In my experience, clutter tends to come from two underlying causes: having more items in your home than the space can comfortably support, and not having clear homes for the things that you keep. And most of the time, it's a combination of these two things. Let's start with the first cause of clutter: having more stuff in your home than the space can comfortably support. People often try to jump right into organizing without addressing this important underlying factor first. They try to organize their homes before they've actually decluttered. This is a really understandable mistake because organizing feels productive. Buying bins, labeling drawers, and setting up systems feels like progress and tends to be the most satisfying part of the process. But if the space contains too many items, no organizing system is going to work very well for very long. You're essentially trying to solve a quantity problem with a storage solution. Before organizing anything, you need to go through your belongings and decide what actually belongs in your home. Once you remove the things you don't use, don't need, or don't enjoy anymore, organizing becomes dramatically easier and your space starts to feel more aligned with the life you actually want. Your drawers close easily, your shelves aren't overcrowded, and the things you actually use are much easier to access and put away. If you skip this essential decluttering step, your storage areas are likely to be pushed past their capacity. Every drawer, cabinet, and shelf has a natural limit to how much it can comfortably hold. When those spaces are packed full, there's nowhere for new items to go. So what happens? Things start floating around the house. They land on counters, dining tables, chairs, and nightstands, and over time, those small piles turn into clutter. Creating some breathing room in your storage spaces makes a huge difference. When your home isn't packed to capacity, it becomes much easier to maintain because you don't have a bunch of items you never use cluttering up your closets and cabinets. Instead, you can create convenient, well-designed storage solutions to hold the things you actually reach for day to day. Not only is it important to assess what you currently own and get rid of what's no longer serving you, but once you've done that, it's essential that you become more aware of new items entering your home. A beautifully organized space will quickly become cluttered again if new things keep coming in faster than things are leaving. This is where being more intentional about purchasing decisions can make a big difference. One strategy I recommend to my clients is separating the impulse to buy something from the actual decision to purchase it. For example, if you see something interesting on TikTok or online, instead of buying it immediately, paste the link or product name into a note on your phone. Then once a week, review that list and decide what's actually worth buying. You might still buy some of the items. The goal is not to deprive yourself of things that would genuinely improve your life. The goal is simply to remove the impulse and emotion from the moment of purchase so you can make a more intentional decision about what earns space in your home. Another thing to look out for that can be a big source of clutter is subscription deliveries. Many people set up subscriptions for products because it feels convenient or offers a small discount. But what often happens is that items arrive faster than they get used. Suddenly, there are backups of everything: extra detergent, extra cleaning supplies, extra toiletries. Now, valuable storage space is being used to hold large amounts of backstock. Subscriptions can work in certain situations, especially if you know exactly how long something lasts and the delivery timing lines up perfectly. This tends to be the case with things like replacement air or water filters, which should be changed on a fixed schedule. In those limited cases, a subscription can actually be really helpful since it becomes a natural reminder to keep up with the replacement schedule. But for other household items that don't operate on a fixed schedule like this, subscriptions might not be the best option. I've seen many clients who end up with so much backstock that items expire before they get a chance to use them or need to be given away simply because there isn't enough space to store everything. Personally, I prefer buying most things as needed so I have more control over what's coming into my home and when. The small discount I would get from setting up a subscription is not worth giving up the space in my home to store all of the backstock. The second cause of clutter is when things in your home don't have a clear place to live. Even if you have the right amount of stuff, it becomes very difficult to maintain a tidy space if items don't have obvious designated homes. When something doesn't have a clear place to go, it tends to float around the house, it lands on the nearest surface, gets thrown into a random drawer, and plants the seed for clutter. That's why one of the most important parts of organizing is making sure every item in your home has a specific place where it belongs. Ideally, that place should be both obvious and easy to access. This is where things like bins, drawer dividers, and labels can be really helpful because they make it visually clear where everything goes. And when you're deciding on where things should go, it's really important to reduce friction as much as possible. If putting something away feels like it takes too much effort, people typically won't do it long term. For example, if your laundry hamper has a lid and people are often leaving clothes on the floor instead of putting them in the hamper, that might be a sign that the system is too cumbersome. It might sound silly, I mean, how hard is it to lift a lid off of a laundry hamper? But surprisingly, even these small sources of friction can be enough to derail good habits, especially when you have your hands full, literally or figuratively. The same thing can happen with shoe cabinets that have doors. If opening the door feels like an extra step, people often just leave their shoes on the floor instead. A simple open hamper or shoe shelf might not look quite as polished in theory, but in real life it often works better because it's easier to use. And systems that are easy to use are the ones that people actually maintain. So you've decluttered your space and made sure that everything you've decided to keep has a designated place to live in your home. The next step is to get in the habit of deciding where new things will live before you bring them into your home. This is crucial for keeping your home organized and not falling into the cycle of letting clutter accumulate until it becomes a big project to deal with. If you can't think of a place for something new to go, that's a good sign to decide whether you really need the thing or not. If you do, you may need to remove something else from your home to make space or rework the area to accommodate the new addition. Many people naturally do this when making bigger purchases. Like most people make a plan to get rid of their old sofa before bringing a new one into their home. But I find this thought process is really important for smaller items too. Small things can feel harmless because they might be inexpensive and take up very little space, but they're often the things that accumulate the fastest. Business cards, free pens, promotional items, extra chargers. These are the things that quietly fill junk drawers and create frustrating clutter with very little payoff. I remember being at an etiquette dinner once where they were handing out these tiny etiquette reference books. When they tried to give me one, I said, "No thank you, I don't have a good place to put it." My friend laughed because the book was only about 2 inches by 3 inches, but I knew I wouldn't have a designated home in my house for it, and I also knew I would probably never open it. So I simply declined it and prevented the clutter before it even started. I do accept free or promotional items when I genuinely have a use for them and know exactly where they'll go in my house, but if something doesn't have a clear place in my home, I usually say no, and that tends to be the case more often than not with promotional items or swag. Once you address these two causes of clutter, having the right amount of stuff in your home and making sure everything has a clear place to live, you move into what I like to call the maintenance phase. This is where keeping your home tidy becomes so much easier. You're no longer constantly struggling because you're expecting your space to hold too much stuff, and you don't have random homeless objects floating around your house ending up on flat surfaces and cluttered drawers. Instead, you're simply maintaining systems that are already established. But staying in this phase does require keeping an eye out for small messes before they turn into bigger ones. Otherwise, it's very easy to fall back into a cycle many people experience. You declutter and organize, your home looks great for a few days or weeks, life gets busy, and then things slowly start piling up again until you're facing another big organizing project. There's a concept called the broken window theory that helps explain why it's so important to stay on top of little messes after you've decluttered and organized your space. The idea comes from an observation made by researchers studying neighborhoods and crime. They noticed that when a building had a broken window that wasn't repaired, it signaled that no one was taking care of the property. Soon, more windows would be broken, graffiti would appear, and the area would quickly begin to deteriorate. The broken window itself wasn't the real problem. It was the message it sent that disorder was acceptable. The same concept applies in your home. When a space is tidy, leaving something out feels noticeable. But if there's already a small pile on the table, it suddenly becomes much more acceptable to add one more thing and then another, and before long the clutter has returned. That's why staying on top of small messes is so powerful. Preventing the first few items from piling up makes a huge difference. Before we wrap up, let's zoom out and take a look at the bigger picture. If your home keeps getting cluttered again after organizing, it usually means you have too much stuff because you didn't declutter enough before you organized, or too many things have been entering your home since you decluttered. It could also be because the items in your home don't have designated places to live. The key takeaways here are actually pretty simple. First, make sure the amount of stuff in your home matches the space you have for it. When there's more stuff than space, clutter is inevitable. Second, give every item a clear place to live so it's easy to put things away when you're done using them. When those two pieces are in place, organizing stops becoming something you constantly have to redo. Instead, you're just maintaining systems that already work, and your home naturally becomes much easier to live in. If you're looking for a little decluttering inspiration, check out my recent video where I walk you through a client's closet transformation. I'll link it on the screen here and in the description below.